as Bitcoin finally broke out, and what's next? What's up, guys? Crypto Savvy here. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Monday. We're going to take a look at the charts. We're going to look at LITECOIN, see what might be going on with LITECOIN. Then we're going to move on to Bitcoin, take a look at where we might be headed, and then we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin daily chart versus the gold weekly chart and see where we're at on that. This is your daily update. We do these every day, so I do want to remind you guys, I have a 100% free Discord group with an awesome community in it. It's in the description below the video. There's a link to it. There's also some affiliate links. If you guys use them, it really helps the channel out. Also, there is some tip jars in there. So let's get on with the video and see what's going on with the charts. What's up, guys? As always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion and my view of the market only. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market can be extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind, it's still a speculative market. Do not put in more than you're willing to lose. With that being said, if you're new here or you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand side of the screen. That'll get you subscribed to the channel. Then if you tick the notification bell, that'll get you notified when I post new videos, as I do post every day. And I do live streams once in a while, so it will notify you when it's coming up. So yeah, definitely check that out. And please hit the like buttons, leave your comments, let me know what you think, and let's get on with the video. All right, so we've been watching this cup and handle for a long time now, with the neckline at $100, and our target is right at the 180 range. I'm still totally believe that's where we're headed. So anybody that's getting paranoid thinking of the lower lows, we will look at the bearish scenario, guys, but I do believe that LITECOIN is going to be heading up soon. Let's take a look at we'll take a look at the higher targets first, and then we'll go into the 4 hour and look at the bearish case. So I have this target here of 165, which is the top of this rising broadening wedge. And looking at a breakout, if we were to break out in that area, my target is the 273. If we were to continue sideways along in here until we get up to the 180, and then we break up at the 180, my target's 300. Now my end of the year target for LITECOIN is between 600 to 1,000. If my Bitcoin target of 46,000, which we'll take a look at the end of the video, if that hits the 46,000, I'm looking at LITECOIN somewhere in between 600 and 1,000, and we'll know better and get a closer target as the charts play out. So let's look at the daily RSI. And if you guys have been watching, you know we've been watching this rising channel that we fell out of in a falling channel, and now looks as we're moving up. I do believe we are headed up towards the bottom of this to test it again. I'm going to look into the 4 hour and get a better idea what's going on. All right, so in the 4 hour, we had been watching this falling channel way back since April, after our big jump in April. We had a falling wedge it broke out into a falling channel, broke out of that into another, and another, and another. And now I talked about this being a possible bull flag yesterday, and in the measured move of the RSI on this could be what gets us to our 180. If we measured this as the flag pull and put it up, if we were to break out of here, that gets us right up to our old resistance line up at the top. Definitely possible, guys. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and if you are watching it, which you should be if you are trading, but would be definitely watching the top of this. And if we do break this, then obviously up to the next target on the RSI. Let's look at the price action now. And we're going to take a look at the bearish case scenario first, guys, as always. And for those that are new here, I want to give a huge shout out to Bitcoin Ben and Crypto Zombie. He really helped me out, showed my video on his channel. I really appreciate that. So huge shout out, man. I really appreciate it. We gained a lot of new subscribers, so I'm going to do my little rant that I usually do. Sorry for you guys that hear it all the time, but I hate seeing people get ripped off in this space. quit paying them paid groups and the guys that charge you for their VIPs and crap. It's all a scam. It's a hustle. If they're that good at trading, they wouldn't be charging people to do that. That leaves them where they don't have to put any risk in and trade anymore. They just collect your money, and you know, all they're giving you is information you can get free all over the internet. The basics. That's all it is, guys. And you can get it free all over the internet. Don't pay these guys. All you're doing is paying for their drug habits, gambling habits, and lavish lifestyles. There's no need for it, guys. They're not going to make you great traders. They're going to teach you the basics, which you can learn anywhere. And then the way to get better at trading is to start trading. But anyways, rant's over. Just don't get ripped off, guys. Them scammers are just screwing up the space. They scare people out of the space. It irritates me. So anyways, all right, looking at, like I said, we'll look at the bearish case scenario first. But we had this rising wedge here that I just showed you in the daily. And on the 4 hour, you see I have a blue rising wedge drawn in here. And where we're at now is this triangle. We'll look at the bearish case scenario. Excuse me. I do have target here around the 114. It's actually probably a little higher than that, around 114, 114.50, somewhere in there, which would be coming down to test the bottom of this blue line. I'm not to say that it's going to go down there. We could break right through these EMAs here and continue up, but if we did, I do expect support at 114.30. Now, like I said, we have to take a look at the bearish scenario, even though I don't think the bearish scenario is what's playing out, but I am going to take a look at it. And the first thing I'm looking at is the $100 range. And I do believe that is possible, but less likely. And what I would do, that's measuring this as a B, and this would be C. And we would take the measured move of the A, put it down to the top of B, and that would get us down to our $100 range. So that is possible for that to play out, guys, but I think that's less likely. I do have another target at the around the 87.38. If we look at the daily chart, that'll show you that would be around the 200 EMA right here. So worst case scenario, guys, if that fell through, we would be coming down to test the bottom of this trend line, which is the $60 range. But like I said, I just like to take a look at the bearish scenario so we are ready for anything, even though I do not think that's going to play out. But now let's look at, well, first of all, I'll show you how I got the $60 range too. If we were to break out of that channel, that brings us right around that $60 range, which is also old support or old resistance back here. So it is possible, guys. Keep that in mind. Keep an eye on the charts. Now we're going to look at the bullish case scenario, the one I believe is more likely. So looking at this as a triangle formation here, and measure the width of the triangle to where it would possibly break out somewhere in this area, and that would get us up to the 165 range. If we were to break through, we already looked at the higher target in the beginning. If you didn't see it, go back. But we could, you know, come back down, correct back down to the 146 area after that, go up to our 180. And then if we do break out of this, then that gets us up to our higher targets. If we were to do a measured move of this channel, breaking out at the 165, that would get us up to the 218. And the white trend line, guys, is from these peaks down here, all these wicks down here, and I do believe that's pretty good timeline. If we were to break this channel right here at the 165 and break above, the 218 would probably be sometime in the middle of this month, within the next week or two. And then if we, like I said, if we rode in this channel up to the 180 and broke out at the 180 mark, that would be a 235 target, and that would be somewhere in the area of the end of the very end of July, maybe beginning of August. So and again, I don't like to give time frames on charting. That's about the hardest thing there is to do, but this white trend line here is just a guideline for me. Let's get into Bitcoin now. All right, so in Bitcoin, obviously we're having a breakout today, and we'll take a look at where that might be headed. I do want to show you guys real quick before we begin how this parabolic market is moving. I do believe we're still in a parabolic market, and we'll look at that in the end. I don't believe that's changing anytime soon. But if you look here, we had this falling channel here, broke out of that into a rising channel, broke out of that one into another. This is parabolic movement, guys. We broke out of this channel into another, and question is, do we form another one up here? We won't know until it forms, obviously, but we will look at our targets, our higher targets first, and then we'll take a look at the bearish case scenario. So, all right, looking at where we're at now, I do believe we're probably headed up most likely to the 14.3 to the 14.7 area, and we'll take a look at those targets when we go into the 4 hour. I do want to take a look at our higher targets. If we were to break out above this trend line here, which it's just like the Litecoin trend line, I drew it off some wicks over here, and that's kind of going to give me my timeline. So if we were to break out above this, my target off that's the 18.3 area. If we broke out right here, and guys, these targets, remember, move along with the lines, so keep that in mind. And also, guys, it doesn't mean we're going to moon straight up. You know, there's a lot of movement in between. If you guys know how I trade longer swing trades. I don't care about the hourly chart and what's going on and, you know, all the little moves up and down. I set my targets. I hold all my Litecoin. I hold all my Bitcoin. I trade with leverage on Bitcoin, and I take my profits and I buy more Bitcoin and Litecoin. That's my strategy. Doesn't have to be yours. Just telling you how I trade. So anyways, yeah, and then if we did a measured move of this whole thing as a channel here, this being the resistance, this being the support, then my measured move off of that, if we were to break out in this area, and again, guys, that target moves the further we go up to move out of here, but that target gets me around the $20,000 range. And then the next one is this whole area here. If we were to break out, that gets us up to the $25,000 range. So that's how I got those targets, guys. So you know, now I'm going to go into the RSI. We're going to look at the daily RSI first. That's another thing. I don't use all the indicators. I don't believe in them. I think it's a bunch of noise. You've seen what happened with everybody that was, you know, worshiping the NVT. Absolutely did nothing for them. But every time you see these other guys, these other chartists, these other TA guys, they all copy off the next guy. You watch one, you watch them all. They're saying the same thing. If you notice, my TA is way different. It's been on all year. All our targets hit all year. And we're going to continue to do that if I can help it. So, yeah, we had this rising channel that started back in November. And we followed it up into here. We fell out of it in a falling channel, popped back in, came back out. And we had, this is where we measured our top. We had 13.6. It went to 13.8. Pretty close enough. Come back down. Now we tested this top of this falling channel again. I do believe we're going to come back up in this area and retest, try to get back in this rising channel. I don't know that we will go too much higher. We could come up to these higher peaks up here. That's why I have these lines drawn in here. So we may make a move all the way up there before a correction. So just keep that in mind. Also, now let's look at where we're at on the 4 hour. We had followed all this all the way through, and now we are in a broadening wedge here. We also had kind of looked like it was forming a falling wedge, which we broke out of and then came back down, tested it for support, got support. Now this is the area we're going to have to watch today for rejection, and we'll look at that in the price action. I do believe we're most likely going to pop through that though, guys. As you know, we were watching this as a inverse head and shoulders, this being the left shoulder, this being the head, this being the right shoulder. If we do pop up through that, we do a measured move of that, we would measure the head, and again, this is on the RSI, so, and that would get us right up to the top here, which would test the bottom of this, probably get rejection at the bottom of this wedge here. We had this rising broadening wedge, so it measured up pretty perfect. We'll see how that plays out. Let's get into the price action, and as always, we're going to take a look at the bearish case scenario first, which I think is less likely, just like in Litecoin. But Worst case scenario, guys, we come back down. We're probably at some point here going to come back down and test the top of this rising wedge, or if you're looking at it as a inverted head and shoulders, but otherwise it would be a falling broadening wedge. And then we had this wedge that we broke out, and we'll look at all the measured moves in a minute. But I do see, if we do come back down here, guys, I do see this top line holding here and around the, you know, depending on where we hit it, around the 11 or the 10,900 to 11,000 may come down to retest this. If that does break, I'd be looking at the $9,300 range. Again, guys, we're just looking at the bullish case or bearish case scenario, what to watch for. I do not believe this is going to happen, but then the worst case scenario after that would be coming down to test the top of this rising broadening wedge that we had here, where we broke out of over here, and that would be somewhere in the $8,000 to $8,300 range. Again, I don't see that happening. Now we're going to take a look at the bullish scenario and take a look at my targets there to where I believe we're headed now. And remember, guys, doesn't mean we get a straight way or a straight candle straight up to these. There's movement in between. I play the longer swings. If you want to play the shorter swings, you can use the same methods in the smaller time frames. But this is my target for now. So we have a few of them here, and I'll show you how I got them. The first one here is measuring this falling wedge here that we broke out of right here. And if we took the width of that, put it over to the breakout, that gets us up to around the 14.3, 14.5 range. The next measured move is measuring this as a inverted head and shoulders, this being the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And we've broken the line here. And the measure move off that, guys, is 14.3. So that would also meet up perfectly with that long-term trend line that I showed you right here, which we've got resistance off over here. So definitely everything's lining up, guys, for the upside. And then obviously we go on to our next targets. Like I said, we came in here, got, you know, a little bit of rejection. It's not going to go straight up. I just want you guys to know that. Be clear. Don't get paranoid every time it does a little drop. But these are my targets, and we've already looked at the higher targets and where we go after there. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. I'm definitely thinking we're going to between 14.3 and 14.7 on this move, and then possibly much higher. So that's why I do daily updates. I will keep you updated. Now let's look at my favorite charts, the Bitcoin daily versus the gold weekly, and look at where we're at on that. I'd said yesterday this line should hold as support, which it is, and where it's at right now, that line is around the 10.8, 10.9, which would go back to, you know, that worst case scenario. I actually think this trend line is going to hold here, but let's look at where we're at compared to gold, guys. You guys know this is my end of the year target, 46 to 47,000. I do truly believe that is going to hit, and I'll show you why. I'm going to click over to the gold weekly chart. Stick around too. We're going to look at the gold RSI, but we've been watching this chart since January. We've been the only channel that's been doing this. We started watching it right over here, and it's played out beautifully. Now let's look at the gold chart, and I'm going to switch back and forth so you guys can see the comparison and the resemblance. Absolutely amazing, and this is why I do believe, and as you can see, we're gonna have corrections, guys, on the way up. The market has to correct. That's a healthy market, but the end goal, I do see 46 to 47,000 by the end of the year, and that could be being conservative, guys. We could go much higher. That's just what I'm going off of the gold chart. So as you can see, once we stayed above this, you know, we came up, we got a big move off of it and came down. I do have this blue line in here, and I have the same one in Bitcoin. That's not to say it's going to make, you know, it's going to be exact and go to the exact spot. But once we get our rejection and a correction up here, we can move this line and kind of help with the guide. So, you know, we could come back down and test this. That would be a pretty deep correction, though. I highly doubt that's going to happen. Let's go into the weekly chart. Look at the weekly RSI, and I'm going to show you what else we've been watching since January, and nobody else was watching it. So 2013 bull run followed by the bear market. On this trend line here, I drew the same trend line on the 2017 bull market. As you can see, we had 2 points of resistance before breaking through and continuing on with the bull market. This is the 2017 bull market followed by the 18 bear market. 2 touches of resistance before starting the bull market. Now we're going to take a look at the monthly RSI. On the monthly RSI, I had these 2 arcs drawn here. Again, we've been watching all this since January, guys. This is the 2013 bull market followed by the bear market. Each one of these arrows represents a new low in the RSI. And we had 4 of them before starting our bull run. 2017 bull market followed by the bear market. Each one of these arrows represents a new low in the RSI. And the only difference I see here, guys, is this one's going to be much faster, much more powerful. That's what I'm seeing. That's my opinion. So one more thing I'd like to say is show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. And I believe there's some huge news coming for Bitcoin. We're the last ones to know about it. The big players already know about it, and I think that's who's done this and has been buying in. So my opinion, guys, if you enjoyed the channel, enjoyed the content, definitely consider subscribing by clicking the Crypto Savvy logo above my head. That'll get you subscribed to the channel. Tick the notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos, guys. Smash the likes, leave your comments, let me know what you think. Really helps the channel out. And don't forget to check out the affiliate links in the free Discord. So I will see you tonight. I'm probably going to do a live stream tonight. I think I can do that. So watch out for it. I will try to give about a 2 hours notice. So make sure your notifications are on. Take it easy, guys, and I will see you later. Bye.